Hey everyone, and welcome. This here is one of our Q&A episodes as myself and the lovely Alex come together to answer your amazing questions. So let's get into it. Hey everyone, I hope you're well, playing and or making the games that you all love. You're joining me, your host, Max Pez, and I'm joined by the one, the only, the producer of the show, Mr. Alex Partridge.
You know, we've really got to start with these epic intros. I mean, how long can we really keep this up? It's just me. Like, I'm not worthy of such introductions.
Alex, and this is why we'll keep it going, because until you feel you are ready, you know what I mean? I just like to keep it real, Max. Just keeping it real. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to empower you, Alex, with the power of an introduction. You know? So Alex is here again, and for most of you who don't know, if you're new to it, this episode, we try to do this once every month. At the end of the month, we'll try to answer as many questions as we can from all of you amazing gurus. But this one, as Alex knows, and I surprised Alex with this one
Please don't ever do that again.
Moments ago, is that we sadly didn't get as really many questions this month, which is fine. So it's actually given us a chance to sit down and just chat a bit more back and forth with one another and just get talking on that. And one of the subjects that I've proposed to Alex on doing again, very last, 10-20 minute notice before recording, and this was a surprise recording for Alex as well, so I've really put him on the spot, you know. Is we're going to be talking about that of things we wish we knew or did before we left university and left the educational system, as a lot of the listeners here are in education. So if we can spread some of our goodwill and good cheer, Alex. He's nodding along because he's super happy with it. Then we're going to do it. However, just before I let Alex grace you with a far better voice than me, I just want to say just a quick couple things.
Lies. I live with this every day, Max. I know how terrible this is.
But isn't it amazing, mate, how you don't actually know what you sound like? Because the way you sound in your head is so different to how you sound to actually others. So that's always interesting. Which, when you make a podcast and do episodes like we do, you start to hear what you actually sound like and despise your real voice, you know?
Yeah, I got that a little bit, especially after the last Q&A we did, because obviously I had to go hosting that. So that was like the worst 3 hours of my life, having to like listen to myself and edit myself a bit more. So, I mean, you live and learn. It was an experience, shall we say.
Yeah. As I say, it's one of those things that you sadly have to get through. I remember when I first recorded the episode my first ever episode, I had to re-record it. But before we get into it though, Alex, mate, I just want to give a quick heads up, because there's one thing that I noticed when we spoke about this after the last episode of the Q&A, and that was the fact that I noticed some people, and I've done a couple talks now, where people will ask you a certain question, and it's not any that we've gotten, say last episode, but there's some questions where they ask you something about, how do you make players, for example, use all of the right path, or like make a level really show off a mechanic in your game. And we have to say, and you'll have heard it in many of our answers, is that we have to say that there isn't a specific answer for this. It's very much dependent on your game. And I want people to know that this is not, a cheap answer for us. Every game is its own puzzle, and, it's its own way to figure something out. There isn't a secret sauce on how to make a perfect level or a perfect game. Trust me, if we had it, we'd be selling it for millions. And, I probably wouldn't be doing a podcast. I'd probably be out traveling somewhere. I won't lie to you all,
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we just want to say that so that you understand it's not as trying to cheat you or because we don't always have the answer. It's because sometimes you can't give a concrete answer. And just please keep that in mind, guys, because we do want to make sure that we give the best answer that we possibly can, but it's not always going to be the right one. And yeah, it's just something we want to say. I don't know if you've got anything you want to say or add on, mate.
I think with a lot of things, like a lot of things in life, there's no like silver bullet like answer to anything. There's no one solution to anything. Everyone works in different ways, and 10 different people will go about tackling the same problem 10 different ways. They may eventually reach the same conclusion, but the path they take to get there is different. So what works for us, as we have said before, does not necessarily work for the way you work or the way you tackle your problems. So like Max said, we're not trying to cheap out on an answer. We're not trying to avoid answering the questions. I know there's sort of a bit of speechcraft in there. It's just like politicians do it a lot, saying sort of answering but actually not answering the question, and that's not genuinely what we're not trying to do. We're not trying to cheap you out. We just, like I said, there is not always a one-size-fits-all solution to the problems and questions that you pose us, and it's just about trial and error and finding what works for you. And we can offer you our experience and our perspective on things and what things have worked for us. But as always, it's what works for you and finding what works for you. So that's just the reality of things, guys.
Yeah, no, well said, mate. Well said. And with that, like I said, that isn't to put anyone off. So please do keep sending in your questions.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We always love answering questions. I mean, it's always nice to sort of find, especially when you find one where you think, I've got a really good bit of info I can answer on this, like some really good examples, and we love doing that. But we just have to be real with you guys. Sometimes you do have to work at your solutions, and sometimes they're aren't solutions for problems or aren't yet solutions for problems. So just keep at it, guys. Don't give up on tackling the problems that you're facing. Just keep going.
Yeah, man, well said. Well said. And with that, now that we've done that nice little bit there, we're going to go on to the main topic, which is my analysis discussion.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to be talking, like I said, about how... not how. Why have I said how, Alex? That makes no sense. What's going on?
I can't help you.
Exactly, no answers. We just said. We're going to be talking about things that we wish we had learnt in terms of from our education before we left. And I think I'll kick off one, mate, and I guess we'll try either take it in turns with how we say it, or I'll pick a topic, you pick a topic, and we'll just expand on that one, mate.
Sure.
So for me, I think the one thing I wish I had learnt before leaving, and I learnt a little bit about this at the end, probably the last year and the end of last year, and that was for level design specifically, learnt more about architecture, because there wasn't any classes taught on this. There wasn't anything I knew about until I picked up the book 101 Things. I learned at architecture school, which is, if you follow us, we talk about that a lot. But that was something I definitely wish we'd learnt about, mate.
Like, obviously, the parallels that we draw really between real world architecture and game world, you can really consider as a game designer or a level designer, you can consider yourself an architect almost in the same way that a real world architect does. It's just that we do not have the limitation of real world physics to contend with. We don't have to think about how buildings have to stand up. We can let our imaginations just run absolutely wild on this subject, but the sort of the theories behind everything in real world architecture and game world architecture are the same. Spaces, how we move through them, how they make us feel and react, it's all identical. But I agree with you, like we weren't really taught anything like that at university, and even though we were taught about level design, I think it was sort of done in a more hands-off approach, wasn't it? It's sort of here's a project sort of parameter, go away and think about some ideas. And I think I was a little bit disappointed that the feedback we got, or the sort of the information we had going into those challenges wasn't quite as thorough as it could have been. I mean, I don't know about you.
No, I completely agree with you, mate. I think, especially when you go back and look at something like our topics on game and level design, we didn't have proper theory attached to it in many ways. You know, whether it be that of relating it to real world architecture for us to gain a better understanding, or game design theory and how you introduce a mechanic, for example, how you build on that, like those sort of things, balancing even, all of that sort of thing was definitely not present as much as we would have liked. So I think that those are things I agree with you on, mate. There should have been more information upon this, you know. So yeah, for those, I think I'm trying to think, because I don't want it to just be a negative, as in things we wish we learned about. Let's try adding it in, saying, so with the stuff that me and Alex is saying here, think about stuff that maybe you can learn now in your personal time if you have not learned this during your education. So for example, the book 101 Things I Learned at Architecture School, either that or reading stuff such as Gamma Sutra, those sort of things which you can find online, and do take time to read them in case you feel the same as us. You can obviously find stuff on your own. That's partly what university is, self-learning, but you know, those are some resources to check out for that.
Love games? Love game design? We do too. So why not help us here at Level Design Lobby spread the word? With Patreon, from as little as $1 per month, you can do just that. And new for 2019, we have more reward tiers and even more awesome perks on offer, such as access to our community Discord, level design weekends, exclusive talks by professional designers, one-on-one sessions, and much more. Sound interesting? Then head on over to patreon.com/level design lobby for more information and to pledge your support today. As always, we'd like to say a massive thank you to all the game gurus who've backed us so far. It's thanks to your generous support that we can continue to grow, pursue new opportunities, and bring you new, awesome, and exciting content. So thank you. And now back to our regularly scheduled program.
Alex, mate, is there there's anything that you feel we wish we had a bit more with?
So the thing that springs to mind for me is not anything to do with, say, you know, the intricacies or the theories behind game design or level design. The one thing that I wish we had been taught more or sort of informed more about when we were at university is more on the side of your career within the industry, how you go about applying for jobs, how to sell yourself. And I think the big one for me was how competitive the industry is to get into. I think the problem with university, even though it was excellent and, you know, I had a great time there and I don't regret it one bit, but the big thing for me is that university is it's a very insulated environment. It's almost like a bubble. It's very easy to fool yourself into thinking that, you know, reality, that the world outside of uni is almost the same. You know, it's not going to be much more difficult. And I really wish they'd have sort of sat down and, you know, sort of had a real serious conversation with us and said, look, guys, it's you're having fun now, but not every single one of you, like, once you're out in the real world, you are not guaranteed anything. Like, you will not every one of you, only like the top 2% of you will walk out of here straight into a job. For a lot of you, it will be a struggle, or it will take you a lot of time to achieve what others achieve more easily. And for some of you, you will probably never touch games again once you leave, because that's just reality. And I really wish they'd have sort of been real with us about it and just honest. You know, we're all adults there, and I really appreciated sort of, especially coming from sort of higher education at school and sixth form, you know, I really appreciated the more adult environment. So I feel like I'm not saying I feel like a bit of animosity towards my lectures for it, because I absolutely loved them, but I just wish they'd have just sat us down and just said, guys, this is the serious reality of everything.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you, mate. I think that wasn't even touched upon. And, kind of on that same vein of the subject, I think it was like our third year, they'd only put like a portfolio like module together. And, like again, in the same vein, I didn't even know what portfolios looked like.
No.
And what makes a good portfolio, what makes a more presentable and attractive portfolio.
Yeah.
So, no, I completely agree with you, man. I think it's one, and this industry as well, and especially design, right? Especially design, because
absolutely.
if you're an artist or an animator, you've got films and TV, marketing, all of that also in the broader scope. As you said, for those who might not even go into games, you have all of that to get into. For something like game or level design, like, I don't understand what else there is there.
I think the sort of the effect is demonstrated quite nicely with you and me here, because we represent, I'd say, both sides of sort of two different sides of what we've just discussed. Like you, after university, you had a placement year at university. You went on out from university to Reflections and did work there, and I sort of have struggled a lot more in my time since university to find not only the opportunities but also opportunities that last, and that's the big one for me. And I like I said, I just wish someone had sort of said, sort of a hope for the best, prepare for the worst kind of scenario, because like coming out of uni, I would say I was completely ignorant of like the state of the industry in terms of just how competitive it can be to get into, and just how much work you have to put into to get those opportunities out. And it's not saying that I'm work shy or anything. I do feel that I work very hard at the things that I do, but sometimes it's just the reality that for some people, life isn't sort of a plain sailing career of, because I think with some people there's a bit of an arrogance. I remember when we were at uni sort of listening to other people like around us, maybe some of the third years or sort of people above and below us, they're like, yeah, when I'm done here, I'm going to go do a year at this company and then this company. They were sort of bigging themselves up and sort of saying, as painting it out as if it was going to be a really easy journey. And the reality is that it's not for everyone. And that, a lot of it is sort of comes down to right place, right time. And sort of not being afraid to put in, or not being surprised that you have to sort of really keep at it and put that work in. And, and not get discouraged, I think, if things don't go the way you thought they were going to go. I mean, take it from me, that's very much what happened with me. And I sort of simultaneously like love it and loathe it, because it's been an experience for me that's, I'd say, shaped quite a lot of like what I am today. I sort of wish, if I could have done this, done that, and got that opportunity, it would have fixed all my problems. But I don't know that. That's operating on ifs and buts.
Yeah, man, I think that's the thing, because like you said, it's super competitive, and also the market for entry position designers, they are very rare and they're very hard to come by. It's not every year. It's, the state of the industry is constantly changing as well. I mean, there was just over 800 people from Activision Blizzard, and I know some of them weren't game dev jobs, but just showing you again how, and there was multiple studios that closed last year and the year before that.
It just shows, doesn't it, even if you think you've got your career like nailed down, that it just goes to show that it's not guaranteed.
For sure.
It's crazy, isn't it? Like, my heart goes out to anyone who is, all these studios, that all the devs from these studios that have lost their jobs. It's awful, because no one wants to be in that position ever. And again, it's events like that when things like that happen, when people get fired when people lose their jobs at other companies, it makes it's flooding more people into an already crowded pool.
Yeah.
And our job is not an easy one. Finding those opportunities is not easy to start with, and it's just the reality is that you have to pounce on those opportunities when they come, and you just have to be in a position to sell yourself as best as you can when they come along.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. You just have to keep moving on.
Yeah, no, I think that's a valid one. And also stressing on that point, a lot of people that I've met as of recent, especially them from North America, have all said that they've been made redundant at one point in their career, some even multiple times. So with that in mind, people, and going back to something you just said there about like pouncing and being ready, make sure your portfolio is up to date. That's one of the best advice I got. I think, let me just double check, because I think my site is actually down because of a technical issue. So I'm not living by it. Yeah. It's not.
Ultimate irony.
Exactly. I'm going to have to fix this.
Be ready, guys. Oh, it's broken.
Yes. The worst way is it's something that like it was working like less than a week ago, but it's something else has gone wrong on the server side, so I need to fix it.
I mean, I'm not really one to talk about this either. My site is currently down because I'm actually reworking it right now. So, and again, pouncing on that point of what you just said there about making sure your portfolio is up to date. I made a cardinal sin last year and I didn't upload a single thing. So, even those of us who were supposed to know better about these things, it's so easy to let those things lapse and to just not do it. So don't make our mistake, guys. Just make sure you do it. Just do it bit by bit, break the task down to small things. If you upload a bit of something every month, every 2 months, that's better than sort of having to do a mad scramble once a year to make sure that your portfolio is showing the best of what you are and what you can offer.
Yes.
So,
no, I agree. I mean, Alex is just right. And just to hop on this, a story that a friend told me. His name is Barnaby. He's a senior level designer at Ubisoft. Before that, he worked at Crytek. He worked at Eidos on Lara Croft as well, and multiple other studios. But again, he's been made redundant, I want to say, between 2 to 4 times. Just bad cases. But he was the one that said about that. Make sure your portfolio is up to date always with me. He had, when he got first made redundant, he'd said that it took him nearly 4 to 6 months to get his portfolio ready for it to then apply, which you're losing money, time, all of this thing. So that's why it's always important to make sure. Now, we've just had a joke here and there about it, but we both know that we need to get that sorted. And before that, our stuff was ready to go visit. So, like, this may be a time lapse for us, but we do take that very seriously, and we want you to take that as serious as well, guys. Because you never know, someone might even come across your portfolio, and that might lead to something else. Who knows? So just make sure that's the thing there. So there is the end of our part 1 of this discussion. Now there's going to be a second part, maybe third or fourth. We don't know yet. This was just fun for, I think, me and Alex just to chat. Normally we spend time, researching answers. So this has been good fun. So yeah, sorry, I overspoke you. This is how
I'm interrupting you. I mean, you're the MC.
Well, I didn't want to say it, so don't do it again. But no. We had a great time with this one, and I think we'll definitely do another one in case we don't get questions again. I think me and you are just going to talk about something, whether it be the state of the industry or something like this, because it's just fun for us.
I do really like these conversation type episodes. It's just a bit more casual, a bit more fun, sort of breaks the formula a little bit. So
yeah, man. No, I agree, and I think it's a nice one. So we're going to do more of this for sure. And again, on this one, Alex said it earlier, but this is not us bashing on our university.
No,
this is not us insulting our tutors.
No.
They did a lot for us, and we are 100% grateful for them. I don't want to shout out names because I know if I forget someone's name, I'm sure I'll get an angry message at some point.
Angry emails. Like, Max, how could you forget about me? I said this would happen when you're famous.
I say not famous. I don't own a yacht. You know what I mean? So
not yet. Not with that attitude, you won't.
Yeah, exactly. I'll call it the lobby, yacht lobby, or something like that. We'll rename the podcast Level Design Yacht. But again, we are grateful for them. It's just us wanting to pass down knowledge on things to be careful about, to be wary about, and something you may have to do in your spare time. Because they said there's things that caught us off guard. And this is the reason that we do the podcast. Yeah. Because if you're not getting that information from maybe your education or for certain courses, then you can hopefully come here to learn and to gain a little bit more from us.
To sum that up in a beautiful catchphrase, we make the mistakes so you don't have to.
Yeah, that makes me sad when I hear it.
Just keeping it real.
It is. And we just want to announce also, because of the fact that the Patreon has been quite a success of recent, for those who haven't checked it out, please do go check it out. There'll be a link in the description down below. And we get tons of amazing goodies from all of this. And because of the fact that it's been doing well, we want to give back to all of the Patreon supporters, all of you amazing gurus. So at the end of the month, we're going to be doing a February giveaway in which we've taken requests from you lovely patrons, you lovely gurus, from different kind of books that you would like. And we're going to give away three books on game and level design, which some of you have requested. Spoilers, one of them is going to be 101 Things We Learned at Architecture School. I was always going to pick that one, so that's just one of them. And then we're going to be mailing them off to you. The way that we are going to pick the winners is through a raffle website. So we'll enter all these names, and then it'll just pick 3 for us here. We will be buying this. Once we know the winners, we will be contacting you. We'll announce it. We'll contact you. And then hopefully early March, we can get that delivered to you in no time from there. And again, we just want to do a nice little gift from us to you, just to say thank you again for the support now that you've given us throughout this time period, So that is all from us, you lovely gurus. So thank you all very much for tuning in. We hope you have enjoyed this. And I guess we will... before we go, if you do want to research... what have I said? That's inviting trouble right there. If you do want to reach out to myself, then please do so at Max Pears on Twitter. And if you want to email in, please do so, leveldesignlobby@gmail.com. And to reach the magnificent Alex, how do they do, sir?
On Twitter, you can get me at Alex M. Partridge.
Fantastic. And we're going to give a special Patreon shout out to Gilliam Martins. I am so sorry if we have said that wrong, but we want to say thank you for your contribution, sir, to the Patreon. So thank you very much for that. We do appreciate you. And again, I hope I was not far off from saying your name correctly, because I really don't want to butcher it. But thank you all very much, and we will catch you all next time. See you later.
Bye-bye.